Welcome to Conversations with Eileen.
We had a fire in our house in 2008. We came home from dinner. The street was closed off. The fire department had already had it extinguished, and they did get our dog out. Thankfully, he was shaken up, but unharmed. In fact, you were my first phone call. You came. You took you took the kids while my husband and I handled what we needed to handle. We stayed with you for a few days while we found a place to stay that was local while we worked on repairing, and rebuilding. And you also did coordinate a lot of our friends to kind of get us things that we needed. And those are things that were a lesson for our kids too. And I think my kids learned a lot from that, because to see how people they didn't know, of course they knew you and some of our inner circle, but people they didn't know would come together to help a total stranger. Whether it was giving clothes or food or something for our dog, or, the things that you take for granted that you wake up with and you don't have a toothbrush, you don't have clean underwear. The things you take for granted on a daily basis, and all of a sudden you just don't have it. So, this was a big lesson for my kids too. I think in generosity and community, which was one of the reasons that I always wanted to stay and do more things for my community, because it's one of those, and I tell the kids all the time, and now that they're young adults, we give back and we help when we can, and you just do something for somebody because they need it. They may never be able to repay you, and that's it's just about doing the right thing even when no one is looking, right? That's the saying that we live by.
Why don't you tell us how you kind of got involved in the community? What was the...
Well, I guess it goes back to when my oldest son, who's now going off to college, was a kindergarten at Barnum Woods Elementary School. And there was a PTA president that was very, very dynamic in personality and had great leadership qualities. And she was very, very giving of her time, very, very selfless in her volunteerism, and was just very, very welcoming in getting people to want to follow her. And that person was you, Eileen. You're the one that got me started. I was just a guy showing up at a PTA meeting, waiting to see what's going on. And from day one, I was embraced by a bunch of moms and a few dads. And, for the greater good. I mean, people that are involved with the PTA, you don't do it for the glory. You don't do it, for anything other than you want to advocate for your kids and your community. And I really I learned a lot from you. So you kind of got me roped into it. That's how it really got started. And then obviously things dovetailed from there.
It's a great pleasure to be here, especially with something as wonderful as this. It's about our community and shining the positives on community, not the negatives that a lot of people have a tendency to do.
So first of all, I'd like to thank you so much for mentioning that. That is the objective of these podcasts, are to highlight some really special and unique individuals, to highlight programs, and maybe to help somebody figure out where they fit in all of this and how they can get involved, because I'm sure that you and myself and the dozen of other people that do the amazing things in our community, we've already found our path, and I'm sure that somebody's looking for a path, and you could be their inspiration tonight. So
I could be somebody's inspiration, right? I may need to have a talk with them about that, but I'll take whatever I can get, honestly.
And so we've seen the dramatic increase in alcohol use. We've seen the dramatic increase in drug use. While all this was going on, a lot of the inpatient treatment facilities here on Long Island were emptied to make room for COVID patients.
Wow.
The detoxes were emptied out. So folks that were in detox were ushered back out the door, back out into the community at the same time everything was shut down. as an organization, we were able to move a lot of our outpatient services and recovery support services to a virtual environment. Same thing for children's mental health. And for some people, that was really good. For a lot of other people, it definitely wasn't enough.
Sure. Listen, I get it. I've had family members struggle for years with substance abuse, and it is tough. It is tough on every member of the family. Now factor in a pandemic. I'm glad to say that he finally was ready to get the help that he needed, and he is 5 years clean. But I will tell you, it was many, many years of struggle and a huge impact on my family. And you don't realize that you are an enabler until you're not an enabler anymore. And unfortunately, during this pandemic, everybody was, like you say, in the same boat. I'm home, I'm quarantining, I'm doing nothing. And it's funny. Hey, look, I'm having sangria at 2:00 in the afternoon, not realizing the real severity of what could potentially be down the road.
So yes, we all like animals, love animals, I should say.
Well,
we'll do anything to help an animal.
I told you my story before we went on there, and they touch your heart in ways that you can't even imagine. They were part of your family. I always say when I was asked, how many children do you have? I have 4 children. You have 2 legs? 2 have 4 legs. But I have 2 girls and 2 boys. That's what I would always say. You are an inspiration, and really was a reason I wanted to highlight your program. Please don't shop, adopt. Let's hashtag that all over the place. Don't shop, please adopt, because some of your dogs are senior dogs, and at the very least, they deserve the right to have a peaceful, loving, secure rest of their life. I think that's really important.
That's true. I am known as the person in Last Hope who will take the senior dogs so that they have a comfortable, if they're terminal, so that they have a nice ending to their life, however long it may be.
Yeah.
As great as I love St. Raphael CYO and I love East Meadow baseball, okay, I have a lot of friends, thankfully, from flag football on the other side of town that play for St. Bridget's, or they play baseball for Central Nassau, and sometimes there's been times where there's been issues. Like, no, he's a great guy. I know him from flag. And I always felt that the one of the things that drew me into this league, besides my love for the sport, was also the sense of community for all the community.
Exactly.
And I've met so many people from the other side of town, so to speak. One of which is one of my directors, Ed Peters, just retired as a New York City fireman. He donates his time every year. He's going to head up my referees at Bowling Green this year, and Kirk Castro, among others, Dave Fowler, Ken Barshauskas. I'm glad that my board is pretty much 50% from each side of town, because we get a more of a wide array of opinions, But this league draws both sides of town. I love it. And what you'll find is when people pick teams often, especially even when they're younger, by elementary school, you'll see they'll try to get, do you want to get this unfair? They want to get, if I know if I'm going in to pick teams in a draft, let's say in 3rd and 4th grade, that usually the guys from that side of town, from the Clark side, are going to try to grab the kids from Bowling Green and Meadowbrook. It's just you want to try to get your son's friends.
Right.
We're doing the same thing. I try to get, I was usually trying to get some McVeigh kids. And if you had a coach from Barnum, he's trying to get the Barnum kids, But as they get older and they mix teams more, because we always say it, sometimes you have a parent say, oh, my son doesn't know anyone on the team. There's no one else from from Meadowbrook, and I said, well, he'll make new friends.
Right.
And as they get older, you'll find they intermingle more and they get to know each other.
Yeah.
My son was playing high school lacrosse a couple years ago, my son Dominic, and the kids, we played against Clark, and it was really cool. There was kids I knew from flag football in there, and you strike up relationships. There was a kid, Artin DeLippi, a couple years ago, phenomenal athlete in our league, and I loved watching him play, even when he's scoring touchdowns over my team. And I would go to Clark when he was a senior, and I caught one of his games. I'm sitting with his dad on the sideline because we're all one community,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm so glad to hear you say that, because there should be no division. When we work together, we can do amazing things.
Eileen, I do want to say something though.
Yes.
You moved out here, and you just didn't move out here. You took ownership in the community, and I want to personally thank you for what you do for the children with your position on the school board. Your work is thankless. People don't appreciate it, but they never appreciate someone who really puts the time and the effort in. But you know what? I always hear good things about you, and I really appreciate the work you do, not only for my family, but for the whole community. And that's why the school district out here is so good, is because of the work you do and your two partners there. We all should really appreciate it. And just another thing, like I said, you took ownership in this community, is the work you did for the veterans in their hall. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. That was a beautiful accomplishment you did on their behalf, and I'm really proud of you. I'm proud that we've been friends all these years, and it's wonderful how you embrace this community, and this community should be very, very thankful that you picked this area to move in.
Dean, thank you so much for those kind words. When you love what you do, it's not work, right?
That's true. It's a career for you. All this is a career. It's not work.
I love it. I love every part of it. So thank you so much.